Hello again and welcome to another video from the Marketing Study Guide. In this video I'm going to have a look at the BCG matrix and in particular stars and whether they are expected to make good levels of profitability. My name is Jeff and I'm a long-term marketing lecturer and practitioner. Okay, so you probably know the standard BCG matrix. I put one together: stars, question marks, dogs and cash cows. So we're going to concentrate on the stars up here. Now stars have high market growth rate and high relative market share. So I'll just go back to what I showed you. So up here you can see we've got market growth rates 15, 20, 25%. So clearly this is the growth phase of the product life cycle. And this is relative market share, so relative to your competitors. So if you're on this side, you have either the market leader or one of the market leaders. Okay, now when you hear the word star in the BCG, it sounds fantastic. Well, they're a star portfolio. So you immediately think they are the best. But my question is, are they really? Now, as I've just said, strong, growing market, obviously attracting competitors, obviously attracting new consumers, and we're well placed in terms of market share. All of that is good, okay? However, this means we are in the growth phase of the product life cycle. And when we're there, the market is very competitive and some firms are willing to overinvest. Okay, so let me just explain what's happening here. Any businesses down here that are question marks, their question is, what do we do with this portfolio? The market is growing, it's going to be a big portfolio down the track. So we need to either decide to give up because the investment required is significant, or do we challenge and become a star? So these ones here, some companies will try and move that portfolio up there, and that means that their relative market share is increasing. How do they do that? They spend big, and they have to because they're well behind. So they'll invest big time. In simple terms, and they will build their brand, they will strengthen their positioning, they will geographically expand, they will bring in product variations that appeal to new segments, they are going to expand the product line, they're going to have lots of variations, they're going to compete on price, they're going to try and undercut whoever's at the front there. They're trying to have strong retailer relationships and build programs for them, and where possible, some sort of incentive on your next purchase to ensure that they capture that customer longer term. That could be a contract situation or a further incentive or some connection between the product and the service that may be required to maintain it down the track. So they're going to work really hard. They're going to throw a lot of money at this. So the stars are not sitting there going, you want, that's fantastic. We are so protected. The reality is the opposite. They are being attacked because what happens in a growth phase is you've got to get to the top. You've got to start capturing your market share, and eventually, I've got the line down here, what a star wants to do as the market matures, it becomes a cash cow. And cash cows is where we make a lot of money in a stable market, and market shares are fairly stable. Okay, so let's look at the dollars here. A star is in the growth phase. So the market's here, it's going to be here, but currently it's smaller than it's going to be, and it's possibly smaller than other markets that the company is in. So a star has a large share of a smaller market. Okay, so its cash flow is less than other portfolios in the collection of the company. Our sales, our cash flow is good, but it's really low and it's growing. Okay, so we're capturing more and more money over time. But if we're going to match out the question marks and potentially those on the cusp of also becoming a star, we need to do all these things. We need to either match them or do them better. Now we have the advantage, obviously, of having more market share. We've got more money coming in as opposed to the question mark. But if you have companies in the question mark category who are willing to invest that money, that means they've got a lot to lose. So they can throw a lot of money at this and nothing's going to happen. So they have this motivation to really want this, to make this work, and you've got to compete against. So therefore, we have a lot more investment costs in a star than we would in a cash cow. Okay, so what is going to happen for a star is typically it's going to have quite low or possibly negative profitability. Even though it's called a star, it's a star because it's a future cash cow, not because it's making a lot of money at this point. So they will lose money or break even for several years until the market matures. And then what happens at that point, as we hit the maturity stage of the product life cycle, we have customers with experience, they have developed habits, loyalty habits, and the market share stabilizes. It moves around a little bit, but it's fairly stable. In the growth phase, we constantly have new customers coming in. They don't have experience in that category. They don't have a preferred brand, so the market shares can vary substantially. So just to make sense of this, think about a startup company, and then there's lots around, and usually they need a lot of investment, and they'll go out and pitch for investments, and sometimes get hundreds of millions of dollars of investment. And why? Because they need to grow, they need this investment cost, they need to become a star, because it's typically a new market, and they need to ensure that their position and carry through until the maturity stage where they eventually become a cash cow. So that's it. Do stars in the matrix make good profits? No, not in the short term, but yes, in the long term, if they become a cash cow by holding their position until the market matures. Hopefully that was a worthwhile video for you. Please check out my other videos and please subscribe to my channel.